Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host, Gail of Gaia, with her guest, Drake Bailey.
Let's see here. I'm going to turn that chat off.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're at. Drake and I are here today with Free Range, and I'm sorry we missed last week. It was a week full of mishaps. So anyway, let's move on to something better. How you doing, Drake?
Hey, hi, everybody. The things that are going on right now are the precursor to the main event of the plan itself in terms of politics and all that sort of stuff. A lot of the people that are, let's say, and I use this loosely, quote, involved, the more heavier participants are the ones that are going to go after first, as I get it. So all of these people that think it's funny to play games are about to find out that if you play with fire, sometimes it burns your fingers. Oh boy!
So we're likely to see some big.
I'm giving it 4 weeks from last show, which that's about a week ago. I gave it 4 weeks on my timeline in consideration of actually coming out and doing a number on the bad guys. The interesting part of this is going to be the initial arrests. Everybody's going to know the names of the people that are going to be snatched. The second part of it is are going to be people that are not well known, but are the enablers, whether it's money or positions of power or whatever it might be. Trying to think here. A lot of the principal players that have orchestrated this stuff in terms of the remedy are not going to be known right at first. Now, everybody knows Barr, and he's going to be one of the main Janes or whatever you want to call it of the situation. The situation is simple. If anybody's got a brain and you got an IQ above room temperature, it's real simple. You look at all this stuff and you say, ain't no way that can go on or continue to go on. There's no way. Well, yes, there is if we were to allow it. Now, the thing that one of the things that Trump has stipulated is that they don't really care squat about him. All of this is political theater and horse hockey. Everybody knows it. Everybody that is aware knows that there's no substance to what is going on. So what happens is that the age-old adage of giving somebody enough rope to hang themselves is absolutely appropriate for this. What happens is that when you take certain actions, those actions, when you are in a legalistic parameter, such as an impeachment, whether it's an inquiry or what, doesn't matter. When you get into the legalistics of it, then you make yourself subject to the same penalties as if you committed treasons of some sort, which you have. These are going to be the charges. Now, you have varying levels of treason. A lot of people don't know that. You've got the first one, which is simple treason, straight up. You've done something against the country. Number 2 is felonious treason. Now, that's where it gets serious real quick. And the third one is capital treason. So anybody that commits an act of treason can be charged with that act of treason. And the variations in sentencing guidelines in terms of fines and jail time and all that varies according to what was done. Number 2,
What is capital treason? What do you mean by that?
Well, I ain't done yet. Relax, I'm getting to it. Okay. Felonious treason is where you get a Gestapo boot on your friggin' neck. Literally, you lose all of your citizenship rights. And you can be stuffed in a 55-gallon drum that leaks. Generally, it's a small, usually stone cell. I know of a bunch of them in different places. And what it amounts to is that it's leaky. It's damp. The floor is probably wet and sticky. And you got little furry friends running around on the floor playing with your toes. When you lose all your rights, that means that if you have a legalist, whether it's a lawyer or what it might be, and they get mouthy and object, they can occupy the cell right next door so you guys can talk all you want. However, when you support that act of felonious treason, you also lose all of your rights. Ooh. Yes.
That's big.
Well, it gets worse. Felonious treason is where you have committed an act of treason where people lost their lives over it. Ooh, Benghazi, Fast and Furious. I mean, there's, a whole bunch of those, meaning that you are subject to execution, quite literally, and as immediately as the adjudication comes down, they ain't going to let you play legalistic games with it. 9 times out of 10, whenever this has happened, the person was executed upon discovery of the charges. This happened on the White House lawn at one point.
Really?
Oh, hey, there is a private army dedicated to preservation of the United States that very few people know about. And it is straight up punishment squads, I'm going to say.
Okay. Now, these are Republic.
These are who?
This is the Republic, the land, United, or America, not corporate.
What are you talking about? The Corporation of the United States?
Yeah. That's the one.
Okay, this is the constitutional. This is the private part of the Constitution. Very few people have access to, that stipulates all of these things can be as needed. Now, Secret Service, FBI, CIA, NSA, all in Homeland Security turkeys with the 3-letter alphabet names, don't know who these people are.
Oh,
It could be when the janitor starts taking the broom apart, it turns into a machine gun. What are you going to do? Ooh. You remember that? What you going to do? What you going to do when they come for you? Well, okay, here's the deal. The Godfather deal on all of this sort of thing is very simple. It deals straight up. Either you want to be executed or adjudicated. Choose. Oops. Yeah. Gritting your teeth and going home. Oh my God. Okay. Then you have the corporate people, the enablers, and sometimes the initiators. They are held to the same standards. Now, here's what's fun. If there's a direct attack on, say, the Queen, as an example, people have been known to travel all the way to Russia, snatch somebody by the throat, and drag them over to England and say, now, what did you say, dog breath? Well, guess what? There's a whole bunch of scrotum breaths that are going to really be in deep doo-doo. They think dog stuff smells bad, or
well, that's not to say that the Queen is our friend, is it?
Oh, the Queen's all right. She's in the process of untying the apron strings, let's say, and that's been coming for 200 years since we started, just about.
Yeah, because we really.
But as an example, okay, nobody on the planet will object to what I just talked about. An example would be George Soros. Whatever country he's picked to hide out in has a choice, and the choice is simple. If there's any objection, we ask them when they want us to use them for target practice with the full brunt of our United States military, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Army. We're gonna visit. We're gonna play target practice with your country. Nobody I know of wants that. There's very few who could withstand that. You do some interesting things while you're recording these deals.
You can't see me.
You can stand on your head if you want. I don't care.
In trouble if I needed to see something small. So anyway, you have, and that's okay. The first round that I discussed was primarily government people, officials, people that are in positions that they probably shouldn't be in, but are anyway. And they would take the brunt of the straight up in your face enforcement. The next ones are the enablers, whether it's no matter what level it might be, down to mid-range. Now, mid-range would be somebody who would be a bagman or messenger, that sort of thing. And when this starts, those are going to be the first people to go. If you can't communicate, it screws up your plans pretty badly. Anyway, what's neat was I went and visited ET, and they're up there going, go, go, go. They want to see this as much as we do. There's a variety of reasons for that, but primarily, man has made one hell of a mess of his nest, and we need to clean it up globally, not just in the States. Now, I described some of the things in the States, but where the fun starts is when the people of a foreign state give up their leadership for trial to a foreign entity. That's when the fun begins. Now, the imams, ayatollahs, and all those cool turkeys in the Muslim world, well, the Muslims have been asking me where the hell the money went. They're making tons of money. We never see any. I said, that's because guess who gets it? The imams and the ayatollahs. You don't get squat. It's a big club, and you ain't in it, according to George Carlin. So consequently, what you have to understand is that this is huge, and this is worldwide. It's global. It's not, and it is not going to be something easy to be dealt with. However, because the United States is the keystone country on the planet, we're first. We get our nest cleaned first. Secondly, ET, bless their funny-looking little hearts, they intend to come down and assist with some of this stuff where we have problems dealing with things. There are factories, and a lot of people have complained about certain people saying everybody's a clone. Well, guess what? There's an awful lot of clones running around loose. And by an awful number, I'll tell you 10% of the planetary population. Now, that's a lot of, I don't know what you'd call it, genetically modified human beings. Oh my God, for real? That many?
We took on, at one point, we took on a couple of sizable factories. And those factories, all they did was make clones of whomever, okay? And when I say factories, one of them was the better part of 2 miles square. Think about that. Think how many people you can fit in it. And, oh, boy, the test tubes are all cranked up and humming along. And we come in and broke the glass.
So how do they determine who they're going to clone?
There's quite a long list. It's primarily computerized. That stipulates certain people need to be under better control. And that's basically what the premise of a clone is. You can tell it what to do and it'll do it. Now, that includes pushing that red button, shooting off all the nukes, the whole 9 yards, anything you can think of. Now, we have managed to come up with some things thanks to some off-world friends. And it stipulates, real simply, Dune had it, that old sci-fi movie, Dune. It had it in there where they actually scanned people. He held the thing and the yellow light went across them and didn't find any bad guys, but had they found a bad guy, that thing would have gone nuts. Alarms gone off and lights blinking and whoo-hoo, there's one, whoo-hoo. You know, that's that sort of thing. But the people that have been cloned originally, now I'm not talking about the current people coming out now. I'm talking about people that have been around in terms of cloning for 50 years, say. Those are considered seasoned. And by that I mean that they are very adept at all of the things that a clone needs to do. One of those is to refer to the original, whomever they were a copy of. There are a combination of memory banks. You want to have some fun? Oh, how about the hundreds of acres of mainframe computers that not only keep tabs on us, but also supply information to the clones so that they know how to act under certain situations and circumstances. Not difficult once you get, and you think about it, you go, really? Okay. Then you have ET. ET is actually has put together and put out a large load of, let's see here, super hybrids. They've caught a few of them, but not very many. And the reason they ain't going to catch very many is because they are largely underground, out of the way. They don't create any problems. They go to work just like everybody, all normal people. But the last one that they found, it was pretty interesting. They executed it, but they had to use a .50 caliber. Well, it's pretty much immune to the rest of it. They had to use a .50 caliber on it. Okay, when they finally got done killing it, and the green ooze came out and all this, when they inspected the holdings of that individual, it had small warehouses here and there, chock full of explosives and guns and ammunition, along with the house. Now, the question they had, I'll answer. Are these things supposed to attack us, or what is their purpose? Well, their purpose is straight up enforcement, not to attack us, but anybody. It doesn't matter if it's an ET or who it is. That's what they are designed for. The day the Earth stood still had a very interesting thing in it, where they turned off the electricity to get everybody's attention. Okay, they're not going to do that this time necessarily. It's possible, but it's not necessarily what they're going to do. What you're apt to have is you're liable to find these honest to God super soldiers going after certain people. ET knows who the bad guys are just as well as we do. Well, what are you going to do when one of them shows up and is exacting wants pieces of your anatomy to take home with it as souvenirs? Oh, and it's got a big sharp knife. Oh boy. The radicalism. Okay, here's the deal, and this is, a lot of people don't get this part. Primarily, all ETs are nonviolent, unless you put them in a situation where they have to defend themselves. Then they get pretty cranky right quick. Well, they have certain interests here on our planet that they cannot match anywhere else on this. I don't know if anybody's seen the solar system, but it's got these arms that stick out of it. Well, we're on one of those arms, and this particular arm only finds certain things here on the planet Earth. Consequently, they take interest in something that is of strategic importance, both, and this is neat, not only to them, but us as well. They intended to help take care of us as human beings and people, and a people race, whatever you want to call it. All of the people are due to be educated in terms of what our capabilities truly are. There's a bunch of them. And my books will help you get the basics down. I recommend that you look at it. Oh, and by the way, I posted that link on Cosmic Voice, our Facebook page. So there you go. That thing is liable to get busy.
Good. Yeah, I don't know. The other link, I don't know if it went bad or what, but anyway, we'll keep up with it. If we hear that it's not working for any reason, we'll fix it. But it's working and should be up and running just fine.
It appeared to be. I clicked on it and it came up, and I copied the link and put it in on the Facebook page. We got like 25,000 people on that Facebook page alone, and that's one of two or 300 Facebook pages and blogs that these shows go to.
Wow.
So it gets around. It's all, everybody's playing QT. They're pretty sure that they don't want nobody visiting them. You know, we don't want to have this Men in Black open the door. We don't need that shit. Yeah.
How are things with ET? Has some of the bickering or the fighting died down, or?
We had about 5 or 6 big skirmishes with I will call pirates. Some of those were a part of the supposed to be a part of the ETs that were guarding us. Remember the thing at the Air Force Base?
Mm-hmm.
It's real simple. It's not complicated. You get insurgents that fit in, and they make sure that you don't know about them until it's too late. And that guy pulled the trigger, and it was too late. So, you know, now they did ground all of them. They're not flying. They can go to classrooms only, and they're all confined to a general area where like people are together. This is, you know, this is a part of the overall problem, and the overall problem is huge. People have no idea as to the logistics. What do you do if you got to if you have to control or manhandle 1 billion people? How do you do that? You know, well, part of the deal is very simple. You offer them the straight up deal. Either you're executed upon we find out about you, or you can turn yourself in and say, here I am, and I ain't got no weapons, and I'm trying to be a good boy, and all that. That's the choice they've got. Now, ET is going to re-educate, if need be, rewire their brains so that they think straight. But I've been, like I say, I've been pretty busy with a whole lot of fun and games.
Well, we're that transition come through because everybody wants change. This, you know, things just don't.
Well, the ideology here is not does not necessarily fit what people have an ideal of in terms of freedom per se, and by that I mean what we have here in this country is unique on the planet in terms of what you can do and get away with. So, you know, it's the fun and games are it's right there in front of you. I almost drool on myself thinking about how much fun it's going to be to watch that. I mean, if you ain't got a whole bunch of extra popcorn, you might be in trouble.
Well, we're ready. We're ready.
Yeah. So you got questions?
I sure do.
Oh boy.
Now, there's a couple of them that I know we've answered in the past, but they say sometimes people hear things 3 times, so bear with me. Just you can.
There's 2 things on that. One, some people need to have things repeated a lot. Remember, in multiplication and addition and subtraction, all them tables you did when you just okay, that's repetition. Number 2, there is a concerted effort to see whether or not there be deviation in the answer. Now, I might add something, but it ain't going to change from what it was.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
What exactly are the Nephilim?
What exactly are they?
Yeah, what are they?
Half-breeds, for want of a better term, in terms of oh boy, how can I best describe this? A cross between humans and human-oriented or originating ETs, meaning they didn't come out as giants as such. They're bigger and generally. They're like 8 to 12 foot tall, but they also have pretty well orchestrated powers. In other words, if you meet one, you might not know it and never realize it, because they have the capability of projecting what they want you to think to an extent where you actually think you experienced whatever it is they had in mind. Highly telepathic. This is, and they have, well, there's several of these critters running around loose, and one of the stipulations, if you are forced to defend yourself against one, it takes about a 308 minimum to knock them down. Once you knock them down, you have to go behead them, because they have recuperative powers that within a few minutes you'll be fighting the same one again if you don't take its head off. So get you a machete and sharpen that dog up to where you're ready, and when you got to shoot one, blow it off the porch and it falls out, well, you go over and
wow.
So dice and dice.
Oh.
And that's only one. We got probably 25 or 30 different races that think we're pond scum, disease, let's see here, unfit to exist kinds. And they will do you a number if they can get away with it. Now, some of them are in underground bases that we've been cleaning out. Some of them are hiding in other places. They got new underground bases or whatever, in terms of not being able to find them.
Wow. Are they Anunnaki human hybrid?
No, these are straight up ETs.
Okay.
Mostly. Some of them are interbred between themselves, but not with humans. They don't consider humans, I don't know, of good enough quality to interrelate with them.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the question was kind of in reference to the Nephilim being half Anunnaki and half human.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Right. That's not the case. Okay. What exactly are angels?
That would be the spiritual side of us, and or ETs, and or what would be called an adept, where you have mastered the sciences of spirituality in terms of your capability and activities. I have yet to see one that's got wings. It's mostly a levitation deal. You instead of walking around getting tired out, you zing up in the air and you look around and you go, okay. Now, one of the things, if you really look into the old texts, you'll find that Jesus Christ did a little bit of transporting. He went from point A to point B, and back then it was not possible to do it that quickly, period. I don't care who you was. So that's, it's been around since forever.
So they say here that you said that they were angelos. Angelos?
Yeah, that's the race.
But that's the name. That's how you would.
Yeah, angelos would be the angelos, depending on the Depending on where you're from, in terms of your linguistics, would depend on the pronunciation.
Okay. Next question. Is ET helping us clean up the oceans?
Oh yeah, and everybody's going to be surprised how quick that happens. How easily the restoration takes place. Now that does not mean that we're going to be. That does not mean that ET's going to run around resurrecting animals that have been dead for some time or extinct or whatever. But what people don't understand is that Gaia, our planet, is a living entity, and the things that are on it are determinate in terms of not allowing them to go extinct. Thus, you have these things that have, that's been extinct for 2,000 years. Where'd that come from? Gaia and the powers that are vested with her are not of the type that will let something go to waste. So you're going to have things popping up. Just that simple. Now, some of the problems that we're facing can only be handled with ET technology. We don't have the advancement. One of those is global warming. Well, global warming, it deals directly with the position of our planet in relation to the star or sun that we follow. ET has already, I've seen a couple of things, and ET has already been in the process of adjusting the orbit so that we don't have severe problems. Then to go along with it, I don't know if anybody's been watching, but the weather is beginning to calm down. Keep an eye on it.
Okay, here's another question for you. Were the human-looking gods of ancient Sumer Anunnaki?
No, those are hybrids between humans and the Anunnaki. The thing about the Anunnaki is that they do appear mostly human, but not quite. And you can see there's a big difference, and you can see it. Consequently, they didn't want to freak people out, so instead of appearing as some kind of a bad imagination, they decided to appear more human, so they didn't freak out the poor. Now think about somebody, they ain't got no education at all. They're out there with a staff and they're guarding the sheep. And this thing comes walking up to them and says, "Hi." And look around, you can't see too well in the dark. "Oh, here, I'll fix that." And points at the ground and sets a bush on fire so that we can see each other. "Here we go. Hi, how you doing?" Oh my God. And they start worshiping. Well, some of the ETs of the past, and these are not necessarily the best of the ETs or the best of the whole of the group. They liked being worshipped. It feels good. Okay, well, you can take all your ETs and stick them. I already put several in detention because they didn't know how to act and refused to change their ways. And I'll let that will ride until such time as we make our transition. At that point, then the laundry gets done all the way around. That's going to be fun.
How are they different from the reptilians, and are they reptilian guys? They're talking about the gods that were like.
Well, some of the ancient gods are reptilians. Some of them are grays. Some of them are greenies. Some are insectoid. And depending on where you were at, depends on who contacted you. Primarily what they did was to bring information that would help mankind, pretty much. And that information could be anything from farming technology to healthcare. It varied. And I mean, it varied a bunch. The ideology of mathematics, the concepts of astrophysics. I mean, there's loads of things that they tried to give to us, to everybody, in order to make us better entities.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well.
And yeah, they were educating us basically.
Yeah. That's that, and they have been doing this for I don't know. Let's see, about 250,000 years minimum. That's minimum because mankind goes back about 700 billion years. We have had major civilizations on this planet that have been destroyed and differing at differing levels at different times. If anybody believes the horse hockey of a of a ramp, okay, and roller poles on the ground, ramp made out of sand now, roller poles on the ground, and everybody chugging up the mountain, pulling this big stone to build a pyramid. What a crock! It stipulates, okay, in several places that these stones, and this is neat, were levitated. They didn't weigh nothing. Okay, now I have the formula for the concrete that they use to make those stones that have lasted so long. Oops. I know how to do that. I can make concrete that'll last, 10, 12,000 years, somewhere in that area. And then the only thing you got to do is, spruce up wipe some more goodies on it and make it look good again. And it's good to go for another 10, 12,000 years. It's not difficult to, and these things are public information.
Wow.
Fun.
I am first. We're going to 4D. Then now it is 5D. I have been alone years after separation and want a love sexual relationship after transition. Is this possible in 4D and 5D?
Ain't gonna be too much difference in those two. Okay, 4D is gonna be a lot like this one without all of the pain and strain. 5D expands on that. The real big change in terms of our existence comes at 6D.
Oh, okay.
You do these are all done in 3. Everything's done in 3s. Don't forget that.
Yeah, 3, 6, 9.
3, yeah, exactly. 3, 6, 9. You got it.
This I guess this is a commentary. I'll just put it out there anyway. It says Facebook is interfering in the 2020 elections. Laura Loomer from Florida, District 21, has been banned. Her campaign has been deleted from the platform. Therefore, President Trump's district is affected as well. But, the Facebook's been doing all kinds of nasty stuff.
Well, Facebook best be careful because they're liable to find themselves liable to the extent that they no longer can exercise any control over it. Ooh. Yeah, you think about that very carefully. I mean, instead of breaking it up, you could leave it whole, but there's going to be people that would look at it and regulate it similarly to what people want to say. Now, I'm not going to tell you that everything on Facebook is cool. It ain't. Some of it is horse hockey. Some of it is straight up hate. Some of it is how to dismember people, how to make bombs. I mean, there's all kind of really great. This is on Facebook now. So they say that if I specifically target somebody, I will be put in Facebook jail. Well, there's a problem with that. You allow the radicals, and it don't matter which ones, to run their stuff and not be impeded. Okay? That means that they have made themselves inequitable. And what that entails is that when you have a public platform of the size of Facebook, we can make you a publicly controlled company. Ooh, whether Facebook likes it or not makes no difference. You come in and you grab that turkey by the throat.
Well, they need to be grabbed by the throat because the other thing that they've been doing is they've been banning anything that indicates that vaccines are not safe.
Yeah.
In spite of all the injuries that have happened.
Yeah. All of the stuff dealing with any kind of vaccinations, medicines, let's see here, political correctness, all that stuff is a no-no. Now, here's the problem. YouTube is joining in with them and doing the same shit. And these people don't understand that they can be held liable for the horse hockey games that they are playing. So
I've been asked about have I done a backup channel, and I have not.
okay.
I'm that's a techie expert by a long shot, so I might need some help in that regard. Anyway, let's see, where are we? The next question. Okay, we always get these long commentaries sometimes before the question actually comes out. I would like to ask people to be more succinct in their questions.
I would like to get a hold of the guy that came up with the laugh-in award of the flying fickle finger of fate, where you got a hand going, it's going around like that. Well, I know some people that really enjoy having that publicly presented to them.
Okay.
Did you get that video? Oh man, did I get that? You can see it. Look on the. Oh boy.
Here's this question. We've been asked this so many times, Greg.
What?
Will I be safe living in Live Oak or Lake City, Florida, without risk of floods, of earth changes, or in Elbert, Colorado, close to Colorado Springs, Castle Rock, in the coming years?
Okay, you should be fine most places. Now, here's the gist. You got a bunch of turkeys out there that don't know up from green. I'll put it that way. And the situation is this. There used to be a thing called Great Earth Changes. Oh, the Mississippi's going to run to Canada and all this other happy. And the United States is going to be split in half. And well, there's a problem with that. If you were to split this continent in half, you're going to destroy the planet. So it's not going to happen. Okay. Number two, the Great Earth Changes used to be a part of an ancient prophecy, and no prophecy has ever been absolutely written in stone, unchangeable. Things change according to what is taking place. As we start cleaning the nest, that's going to look to those who have the power like we're taking our responsibility of husbandry seriously, not only for ourselves, but for the planet, etc. Consequently, you can forget all of the Great Earth Changes. Florida is not going to sink into the swamp. California is not going to fall off the world. And I don't care if you think it's flat or what, doesn't make no difference. The situation is something that had, it was a bit stale when I ran across it 20 years ago. And I did some checking and found out that the same sources that put that information out also put out the information that had changed. Consequently, I look at the change. Well, you might get 6 inches of water rise out of all the oceans if all the ice melts. I don't know that all the ice is going to melt. However, don't forget the simple history. Woolly mammoths eating tropical plants at both the North and South Pole. Well, if that ain't global warming, I don't know what is. And mankind didn't have enough campfires going to screw it up. Oh, it's my fault. I did it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, here's the next question. I understand with the banks and stock markets crashing, will the stock markets be obliterated altogether when the GCNR comes in force?
Not when the GCR comes in force, but shortly after the transition, yes. We won't need banks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Those crooked banks anyway. Okay. FEMA administration, Region 5, they had a meeting with Nibiru, said it would be coming to our planet Earth about the first quarter of 2021. And they said that FEMA agents and family would have a safe place in an underground bunker. They also said that the military would start picking up 200,000 patriots and have on a list in the middle of the night the FEMA camps. Houses, driveways, mailboxes will have ultraviolet paint markings so they will know who to pick up. I've never heard this. Nibiru is the spaceship or home to the Anunnaki, right? No one has the gonads to tell the people the truth. We have a right to know. What's the truth about it?
Horse hockey. Now, if you don't know what horse hockey is, go find a pile of road apples in the wintertime when the horse hockey is solid. Take one of them and kind of beat it with a little rock to flatten it out into a puck shape and have fun playing pucky with it. Okay. This is a portion of what's known as the New World thought process. And what happens if you take the Great Earth changes? Now let's expand them a little bit. Let's get them way out there.
Well, it's like the horse hockey. I like that because I kind of switched from, I used to say bull.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm going with the horse hockey because it sounds nicer.
Yeah. Really. I'm trying to be nice. Most people know what horse hockey is, and I just explain it so they won't have no doubts.
I once saw a being that looked like the Borg species on Star Trek.
Uh-huh.
Who are they? Are they really Borg?
No, it ain't a Borg. There's a group of group of entities called the mechanics, let's say. Now, that's my word for it, okay? And there are varying levels of mechanical involvement on a biomechanical basis. They have a problem in terms of people transitioning from biological to mechanical. Everybody says, ooh, well, yeah, ooh. We don't have the capability to make that transition. Oops. So anybody that says we're going to turn into cyborgs, not happening.
Not happening. Good. I don't like that anyway. What exactly are demons?
That would be something that is spiritually evil. You have good and evil and variations in between. Primarily, the demons have to be requested. They normally don't run around loose on their own. That generally is not allowed because once they come out of hiding and somebody like me sees them, zap, poof. No, there goes another one again. Is any more coming out? No, but I can see eyeballs blinking in the cave that they're hiding in.
Because they're saying, are they manifested thought forms?
Well, now you're getting into a convoluted area, but I'll explain it very simply. Anything that you can think can be made real or manifest from nothing to something, okay? And yeah, you can call on things that probably ain't the best company in the world to come visit if that's what you choose to do. I leave them alone because I think they're all bullshit. That's just me.
Yeah, I like that. That's what I like. I don't conjure anything of that nature up. Anyway, okay. Is the GCR happening in 2019?
Supposed to. A whole bunch of this stuff is supposed to take place this year.
Okay.
And that's the information I got, and it's supposed to be well underway already. So we'll see how it goes.
Because it goes on to say we are woke and sick of it, working to survive, living paycheck to paycheck, giving away our energy, and we're tired.
Yeah, well, the new paradigm when they flip the switch and we go from 3 to 4 takes care of a lot of that. First of all, you're not going to be you're not going to, for long term, you're not going to be involved in something that's mundane and what you would consider beneath your intelligence level. You're going to be involved in something that makes you feel productive, okay? And that you like to do. You get to do a whole bunch of it.
Well, I think that's what makes people sick is when they do stuff that they don't like to do. And they keep.
Well, most people do it for the paycheck. I got a paycheck, but it was only this big. So I switched job. Now I got one that's like that. I'm staying with it. I hate it, but I'm going to stay with it. Your choice.
I get sick that way. But anyway, okay. Are the Galactics landing with care packages and mentors by the year end?
I'm hoping that they do. That would be directly related to the transition. So in other words, when the transition takes place, that's when those care packages and stuff start materializing or being brought to us.
Okay, because they were saying
supposed to open the collateral accounts before then too, so we'll see.
Yeah, because they were saying that would raise everybody's vibration just to be able to be, that relief, that financial albatross around everybody's neck would be lifted.
Well, the human frequency has gone absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it has.
It has to. What frequencies are neat? The higher the frequency, the less capable you are of reading it. Eventually, if you're looking at an oscilloscope and you get the frequency way out of whack, you get this big wide stripe right dead across the screen. That means that you are beyond the limits of the machine to be able to represent it to you. Okay, the same thing's true of people. Now, when the human frequency goes to the point where nobody can tell what it is anymore, then the waveform changes and it starts reducing its frequency back to where we are supposed to be. It's going to be well above what we are used to in terms of the human frequency on the planet. It's going to be above that because we will have transition. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Funners.
It's 7 something now, the way things are now. I mean, it's going up and down, but that's what it used to be its holding point. So after the transition, what would its holding point be? Would it be significantly different?
It'll moderate. Now, the thing is that our physical discomfort with it, got people that got upset stomachs, dizzy, etc. Okay, all that ceases when they flip the switch and we transition.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Here's another little blurb that goes with this question. Okay. Over a decade ago, Mayan elder Don Alejandro Cirillo Perez said that about every 5,200 years, the Earth reaches a point when it becomes dark for a period of 60 to 70 hours, and the sun cannot be seen. According to his explanation, we are entering what is called the central magnetic axis, which is above planet Earth and stars and planets move. While the Earth passes through that axis, we can't see the sun's rays for this period. He wasn't clear on whether there is a different sun or the same sun as before once the Earth reemerges from that axis. Does this sound like part of the transition to you, or is this just... No,
it just sounds like it's the same thing that I've heard about. It's going to be 3 days of darkness.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That comes from one of the old original texts dealing with the Old Testament biblically, and that originated with our ancestors back in the days about 13 to 15,000 BC, and that was before the last big catastrophic event. Woohoo! Boom! And so some of this, now the neat part about it is that you really want to know, you got to keep looking. Most of this stuff was carved into stone at some point or another, so that we'd have a record that supposedly would last. And some of these rocks that you see on the History Channel that shows insectoids or this or that or whatever has that information. Problem is, you got to learn the language before you can understand what they're talking about.
Okay.
Fun, huh?
Yeah, really. Okay, what does Drake think about the Anna von Ritz group's efforts to establish our original government?
Anna van Ritz?
Right.
She's a friend of mine.
Oh, is she?
That way. Oh yeah, I like her. I like what she's trying to do. I don't know how to objectively get to the point where these things become the reality that they're supposed to be. And I've expressed that. And that, I'm fairly innovative, but there's limits.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Let's see. Can Drake give an approximate back-end date for 4D? I understood Drake to say all ills would be healed in the transition. If this is correct, why would we need med beds?
You're not going to need med beds as such per se. You're going to have a lot of the things that we have that are called anomalies, illnesses, discomforts, etc. Go poof when the switch gets flipped and we go transitioning along in time. What happens is that a lot of the things go away. If, and this is the point, if a person is still afflicted, you be sent to a medical individual who will interview you and ask not only what you want, but what's bothering you and that sort of thing. And you express to this person or entity, whatever you want to call it, what's going on. And then they take you and put you in a biosphere. And you might think you're spending, I don't know, a month in there when it's only just a few hours. The variations in terms of everything that we are familiar with on a physics basis is subject to changes and whatever. So, no, we will, first of all, most of it will be taken care of. And then secondly, if you've got something that won't go away or that the transition itself didn't take care of, you go and talk to the clinic, and the clinic says, okay, we need to plug him into computer number 316.
Okay. All right, next question.
Yeah.
What is the so-called Black Knight satellite doing orbiting the Earth? Who put it there and why? And what is it?
Well, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 billion years old, and it is a stabilizer primarily. It does not, we cannot detect its activities. We don't have this capability. But I have talked to some scientists, some ET scientists, who have explained some simplistics about it, and it's a good thing, put it that way. Okay?
Oh, okay. All right. I understand that we are 3D and animals such as dogs are 2D. Is that right? If so, when we move to 4D, will animals move to 3D?
No. If you occupy space here, now, where we're at, you're 3D. Doesn't matter whether you're a frog, tadpole, eagle, doesn't matter. You're 3D. The transition takes everything with it. Now, 1D, we were all underground. 2D, we were instructed as to what the limitations, what we were allowed to do and all this, in terms of being on the surface. And some of us in 2D started coming out from underground. First time in a long time that humans had been on the surface. You want to know about this sort of thing, look up the Inuit, the Eskimo records, and you'll find that it refers to this stuff. So our 3D came about after everybody was brought to the surface. Now, 3D is, like I said, it's a test tube, an experiment. Squeeze it and see what happens, kind of thing. Well, that's where you get the pains and strains and all the other stuff.
Like grapes, then.
Yeah. So what is about to come up in terms of the transition from 3 to 4 is alleviation of all that. You're not going to have a whole squeezing in horse hockey. A lot of people that think they're all that are no longer going to have the positions they hold presently simply because they're not worthy to have that sort of control.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, nice.
Nice, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
At the time of transition, do we remain in our own homes?
Sure, why not?
Are we with other family and friends or only our guides?
Well, whoever it is that's home at the time is usually what you're going to end up with. If you need a guide, it'll be provided. That will be provided. If you need to talk to friends and family and whatnot, I imagine that will be made available. It's pretty much a one-on-one situational basis.
Okay. Do we continue to go to work and take care of personal responsibilities?
Can if you want, I guess. From what I understand, 4D is not as dissimilar as 3D in that respect. The difference will be that you're going to go to classes. It's going to be a requirement. Nobody, including myself, gets to miss the classes. Some of the classes go to helping you remember things, okay? And that's been part of my mission, to remember not only who I am, what I am, but what I can do. Consequently, everybody goes to class, and the differential between the 3 and the 4, making that transition, alleviating a lot of the pain, strain, awkwardness, and whatever, will take care of a lot of the so-called problems that we have. So you're looking at first, take care of that, and then secondly, learning how to function. Okay, 5D is considerably different from 4D. 4D is considerably different from 3D. So consequently, you have to know what's going on when you get to 4 and you're getting ready to go to 5. You have to know what's going on. You have to know how to conduct yourself, and go from there.
Okay. If synthetics disappear, what happens to photos, computers, phones, record keeping, bills, etc.?
Well, it depends on what it is. It depends on whether or not things are continued as they are. Most of what we're familiar with that would be something that you would think would be continuous may not exist in 4D, let alone 5. So,
okay.
And if you don't, the only bill you might have would be, hey, we need you to paint a whole lot more pictures, Mr. Artist, or whatever it may be. Well, I mean, it's something you love to do that's applicable to the new parameter. We are going to go from stuck on this friggin' planet or rock or whatever you want to call it to a space-faring people in 5D. That is so that we can be checked out by the other races for the consideration of being in 6D. Okay?
Okay. How do we keep in touch with others, or do we, and will teens and children adjust more easily to the tools?
It's a combination. Depends on the capability or insistence of the individual involved. Some people don't give a shit. And then there's a lot of other people that do give a lot. So, the variation would be in that. Now, these people that don't care about nothing at all will be raised up slowly to a point where they do care. And that parameter is sort of like teaching a child to do something. See, I told you could do that. Ain't it neat? And the kid's going, yeah.
Okay. So how would we keep in touch with others? Would that be through telepathy, or how
it's going to be pretty direct, similar to telepathy. Yes, it'll involve some telepathic means. You'll be able to talk to the people that have gone before you. You'll be able to get that big old hug that you've been missing from Grandpa or whatever. So it's going to be neat.
Okay, this is funny. Okay, if our clothing disappears, do we care at what point, or are we provided with garments?
They would show up with garments pretty quickly because they don't want people running around naked. It's distracting.
Alrighty then. Okay. What are the first new technologies to be introduced to us?
Primarily the replicator.
And will we still have the cars for transportation, or will they be changed into?
Yes, but they're going to be converted to hovercraft, so that they, you still got to follow the road, whether you like it or not. You got to follow the road, as we become more familiar with it and adjust to it, get the idea that there are limitations in terms of flying, then you'll be raised up. You got the trees, you'll be raised up above the trees and the mountains and whatever, and go from there. So
Who will convert it for us?
we're going to have a lot of people working on things.
So if you're mechanically inclined, you might be one of those people, right?
Well, you don't necessarily have to be mechanically inclined. It could be that you're the person who draws the artistry of the control mechanisms that operate the friggin' thing. You know, think about it. And you ought to see it. That stuff is beautiful.
All right. Drake, would you say that with these overnight repos and banks getting all this liquidity from the money printing is a sign that the banks are about to go down in Deutsche Bank and Deutsche Bank's financial problems?
Absolutely. The world, not just our country being in such great debt, but the world is broke. According to the Keynesian economics platform that we have been used, which is designed to fail, we're going to go to a straight up equity type of system. So the first parts of what you're going to see are going to be the new currencies. New currencies are going to be equity, not debt. So they're going to be way up here in terms of their purchasing power, while the other one slowly goes into submission and disappears. Now, everybody can relate to the fact that bread is like $3 to $5 a loaf. Well, imagine if it was 50 cents a loaf. That's the kind of differential.
So next question is, Deutsche Bank has gone bankrupt and is about to blow up $250 trillion in derivatives of global debt. Do you have any intel on what that and what's coming? I guess we kind of covered that a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty simple. When those particular entities, and there's three or four of them all together, they're interrelated and are interconnected. When the domino falls, usually you got other dominoes go with it. Okay, and primarily what you're looking at is the Great Depression applied to the European Union. Now, a lot of people, and I mean a bunch of them in different countries, different places, know all about this, to the extent that they have made provisions so that they're going to have food to eat and place to sleep and fuel to keep them warm and cook with and whatnot. So you're not going to necessarily see total collapse. Society is the interrelationship between differing peoples is not going to fall apart. Now, here in the States, it seems like, ooh, we don't have a government. That's anarchy. We don't have a government because we don't have any finance because of this, that, or whatever. Not exactly. Most people want somebody who is capable in terms of strong leadership potential that they can sort of feel or taste or whatever. And that sort of leadership can be put to the point of maintaining some kind of reasonable civility. I don't like that word, but there it is anyway. Civility amongst ourselves. In other words, you're going to have people that don't have any food. And I'm telling you right now, those are one of the most radicals that you can deal with. So somebody is hungry. We need to put things together in such a manner that people are not starving. They might be hungry, but they're not starving. As long as they know that there are things in place to help them through that sort of deal, they will be a lot more reasonable. That's what's being offered. Okay?
Okay. When the new American currency gets created, how much will its monetary value and purchasing power be compared to the current dollar?
It'd be about 10 times as valuable. Okay. Basically, I mean that's rule of thumb, what you'd pay $10 for, you pay $1 for, pretty much.
Okay. In 4D, if we communicate telepathically, how do we keep our thoughts private?
You can turn that on and off at will. You'll be taught how. That's part of one of the classes. Now, my books mention some of that, but I don't go into great detail because we are going to be taking classes that not only teach you stuff. A lot of textbook stuff is crap because there's no demonstration of it. They don't lead you through it. And that's the difference between academics in a learning environment and technical colleges in a learning environment. That's the difference. That you get your hands on and whatever. You get your fingers dirty in the technical college, whereas the other thing, you get the idea, whether it's of any use or not, is questionable. Ha.
Okay. Okay, Drake, you said recently that when we eat fresh greenery, we eat vegetable souls. Oh,
that's true. You have to get into the Inuit belief system.
We eat fruit. The tree continues to grow after fruits are taken, and they drop them if they don't taken anyway.
Well, the Inuit is really extraordinarily and extremely worried about what is going to happen to us for eating live souls. Well, you have to understand that that is a straight up biological energy. Bear that in mind. Some are sentient and some ain't, and you can consume that energy without tarnishing yourself, let's say. Okay.
What about the when we consume the animal, it's usually dead.
Well, most people kill their game animals before they try to eat them.
That's what I mean.
A lot less squirmy that way, and you can keep it on the plate. You don't have to nail it to the table or something. But the ideology is that some people, and especially in these vegetarian realms, stipulate that we're not supposed to eat carrion. Oh, really? Okay.
Did mock them either? But.
Yeah, but the thing I found really interesting was that the word vegetarian is an offshoot from an ancient language. And to the original peoples, the word vegetarian meant poor hunter.
Very funny. Okay.
Well,
I can't.
There is nothing wrong with vegetarianism. My wife's a vegetarian, so I get a combination of both. I'm a carnivore. Give me a slab of meat. But for those who are not positioned to handle, withstand, or whatever the partaking of that sort of thing, more power to you. It's no big deal. You get the right types of vegetarian foods, and you get a combination of things that is actually superior to eating meat in terms of protein. You put them together and they come out better. I love making kale. Of course, I cook it, but anyway. I'm out of coffee.
Fruitarian. They don't.
Huh?
That's a whole nother area. Fruitarian. You only eat fruit.
Yeah.
That's a whole other area. And it doesn't hurt anybody or any souls of any kind. So anyway.
I don't know. I have heard apple trees holler about you eating their apples.
Well, they drop on the ground if you don't.
No. I'm not about you pick them off the tree and you bite into one and go, and the tree goes, "Oh man, what are you doing? That's my kid. What's wrong with you?" So.
Do they? Okay, when the kids drop off the tree, then it's okay to eat them.
I guess I'm not.
Okay. Anyway, that's funny. All right. Next question. Let's move on. Does the Creator have a name we can use when we pray?
Not really.
It says,
Creator
it says
of the universe is the basic official title. So you want to pray to the great creator of the universe. Thank you for everything you've done and all that. And I'm glad that I'm all here and my plumbing still works and, everything's finers.
okay. They just went on to say, creator seems so impersonal and I don't want to be rude in my.
Well, you got to understand something. The creation, to include living entities, is more mechanical than spiritual or biological. Just ask George Carlin. He's got the answers to everything.
Yeah, I know. He cried. I wish he was still here. Anyway, are we still on track for the transition to happen by the end of this year?
Supposed to be. From what I can tell, we're getting ready to cut loose big time, so we'll see.
Got my fingers crossed and my toes crossed and everything else, hopefully. What's going on with North Korea? I thought we were on better footing with them, but now I'm seeing reports of a Christmas present we may not like.
Oh, they're not going to do anything nasty. You have to understand that just as in any political theater, whatever that may be, whether it's the impeachment hearings or whatever, you have the showmanship. You have to understand that a lot of this stuff is horse hockey. North Korea is not going to attack South Korea. If they did, they wouldn't last 20 minutes, okay? If, on the other hand, they decided they were going to play games with the United States Navy and they're going to shoot a rocket at one of our boats, I give them less than 10 minutes. I mean, they're aware of this. China is their buddy and has expressed this. Don't screw it up or you'll be done. Dyed, fried, laid to the side, and over with. Yes.
Oh, speaking of China.
What about?
Working together with Mexico was an issue brought to my attention on the Dave Hodges Common Sense show, indicating that they were working together to create a situation of civil unrest in Mexico and then bringing it forward into the United States, like civil war.
There's one problem with that. Do you realize how difficult it is to get across the border now?
No.
And if it gets really funky and we get somebody marching, do you think that our military is going to sit around and watch Mexicans march into Arizona or something? That ain't happening. I'm telling you that as soon as something of that nature would start, our military is going to drop things on them that they don't want to see. Believe me, this is already set. And by that, I mean, it's probably would be known as a secret policy. Mexico has requested that they don't want our tanks, military, etc., coming to visit. Well, Mexico has one choice in that matter: get control of the cartels by whatever means you feel is appropriate, or we are going to come visit. That's already been stipulated. So, you want fun and games? That ought to be, you're talking a lot of popcorn. You realize that?
Yeah, I was looking at I would be interested in your comment on this. I was looking at the different locations of our military across the planet. I mean, they're all over the place, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like there's very many right here. And it seems to me.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, okay.
See, what happens is this, okay? And this is something a lot of people don't get. I took an oath of service. All enemies, both foreign and domestic. Okay. It don't have an expiration date. You know what that means? If I'm still able to shoot, they can call me up. How many veterans do we have who got thoroughly pissed off in Iraq or Afghanistan or some other theater of operation by having politicians say, "Oh, you're a dirty boy."
Yeah.
Well, guess what? This time it's no holds barred, anything that walks or crawls or breathes air, kill it. Seriously. It's I don't know if you've heard the term carpet bombing. You might want to take a look at that. That's 250-pound bombs within 25 feet of each other. And you're talking 1 million pounds of them. Ouch. Okay, I did some carpet bombing with B-52s in Vietnam. I was the crazy forward observer that fired to New Jersey. What? You did what? What's wrong with you? Well, take a look at the bunker. You had to go in this cave, and you had to go in about quarter mile before you got to the bunker. Well, I adjusted fire to where the bullets started going down the cave. Oh, you talk about some squawking and screeching and jumping out of holes on top of the mountain. Ha! We got rid of that. We took care of that problem. Okay. The thing that people don't understand is that a Moab, mother of all bombs, that thing is devastating. They dropped one on Iran, and they did so for the specific purpose of collapsing the tunnel systems that they had bored through solid granite. And guess what? It collapsed 99% of them. There's only just, if you drop more than one in the same place, you're talking about going up to, I don't know, half a mile deep. I guarantee you that those nuclear facilities and whatnot ain't that deep. Now, you get into the ideology that the cartels are all that because they got machine guns. Well, give me a 50 caliber and get out of the way. I'm good with it on. I was with the 4th Platoon. That's the mortar squad. They were actually dropping their mortar shells on top of people. That's how accurate they were. Now, a head ain't very big. Think about it. Okay, so what I look at is that Mexico has a choice, and it's one choice. They're not getting any kind of a Godfather deal. They're getting told straight up, deal with it, or we will. Simple, not complicated. Oh, they don't like it. Oh, they're all kind of, well, then you fix it. You allowed it to go. Now it's time to take, if you don't have an Air Force, we'll give you some old planes and you can bomb the shit out of them. I mean, it's, we've offered that sort of assistance.
All right, next question. If Trump's levels of protection already know that his food is tainted, why can't they just tell him not to eat it? I realize it's their job, but is it really necessary to allow the testers to be endangered when it can be avoided?
Oh, whoopity-doo. Every royalty has had tasters.
Yeah, but
Trump is, hold on a minute. Trump is a form of royalty. You won't understand what I just said until it's time for the abdication. And that's going to be really, really interesting. Everybody's going to love that. I'm not going to get into the details. I just let that ride. Everybody can look at that and go, abdication of what? Well, how about every leadership office there is in every country? Period. Think about it. Ooh, yeah. Whoa, fun and games.
No more royalty.
Say what?
I said no more royalty.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
A lot more equality, maybe. Level the playing field a little bit, maybe.
Oh, enormously.
Okay. Let's see. Publicly, we're taught that the Nephilim are the offspring of fallen angels and humans. What are they really? Okay, that's back to that same old question we already kind of answered.
The Nephilim are, the true Nephilim were the giants. And the giants were eradicated. And then the smaller versions started coming about. And they pretty much took care of them too. And then there was a great flood and in there somewhere where they made sure that, all the assholes drowned.
Okay, that was the Anunnaki, right? Among others. It seems like just about every ET I've heard of or you've described are 8 or 9 feet tall and above.
No.
He's larger than humans.
Well, some is and some ain't. Some are itty bitty. I have met some that are only this tall, about 2.5, 3 inches.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, do you remember Men in Black? You remember the little guy inside the big guy operating at the, well, I rest my case. I mean, there are the amoebic family, and everybody should know what an amoeba is. That's that little I don't know, oblong thing with the hairs swimming around in your water, whether you like it or not. Okay. They have amoebas that are just as smart as or smarter than us in very, very small sizes, all the way up to huge. So, take your pick. The humans have one serious problem. They think that everything is limited to what they have experienced in their own life on their own planet, and that's it. Well, you get in for a large awakening.
Size doesn't matter. Is that what you're saying?
No, well, in some cases it does. Some cases it doesn't. It varies. The variation is what is the limit of your imagination. Can you see yourself being the leader of a huge amoeba army? Now, what would that do? Well, we can make the toilet flush backwards. Whatever. There's a lot of things that these entities could do without too much trouble and really cause humankind some fun and games in the process.
Sure. Well, then the question went on to ask, when we transition, will we grow in height at all?
We might shrink a little bit or we might get a little bigger, but generally we'll stay the same.
You said that the Earth will be restored to a more natural environment, which sounds nice. What about all the buildings, homes, and cities that already exist? What will happen to them?
Well, if you leave Mother Nature alone, she'll reclaim it. And if you want to accelerate the process, you go in with bulldozers and you tear it friggin' down and get it out of there. Pretty simple. It's not complicated. We will not need to rape Mother Earth or the planet in terms of our needs with the advent of the extraordinarily advanced technology ET is offering us.
Cool.
Think about a replicator. Well, that takes care of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Anything that will fit in it basically can be replicated in absolutely new form. Okay, bingo.
Is there any new is this new arrangement? Will any cities exist with this new arrangement?
Yeah, for now. We get about halfway through 5D. You're going to find that people are not enthusiastic about being in a city for a variety of reasons. I don't like cities because there's too many. It's too crowded. Okay, I like having wild critters run through the yard. That just makes my day. I've seen bald eagles. I've seen golden eagles. I've seen. I did not get to see the mountain lion, but we've had bears, all kinds of. So it used to be a pack of coyotes, and they took off. But bobcats, rabbits, skunks. We got enough squirrels to populate Los Angeles. But it's a situation where God put it together, the Creator put it together in such a manner that the presentation to me is totally awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I love the animals, and I love having them be right out in the yard.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I have so many ideas that I would love to implement in this new world arrangement for the environment, animals, our people, and our adventures into the cosmos to benefit the people of the universe. But I'm not rich, nor do I expect to be when the money changes happen. How can I get my ideas to fruition?
That's pretty simple. They're going to be asking you for ideas about how you can um, how you can export things that are fermented, as an example, because replicators don't do well with that. So you think about being in the sauerkraut business. Some people were in the olive oil business. I mean,
I lived in a small town called Franklin, and they used to make sauerkraut, and boy, did it smell bad.
oh, I love it.
It smelled summers, though. It really did.
Well, the thing is, you might be able to put a crock of sauerkraut. Now, not everybody knows what a crock is. Look it up if you don't. They might be able to put a crock or two, or a tank or whatever, of sauerkraut together to ship to Alpha Centauri. I understand that they just love sauerkraut. So they would be in your debt if you were able to figure that out.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. Is it possible to replicate a ready-to-fly starship capable of going anywhere in the universe? You'd need a
yes and no, because the problem with that is that the technology changes at such a rapid rate. It's very difficult to get conformity built into it. In other words, it's not like we are stamping out Chevys. Big difference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it went on to say, can we build a replicator large enough to replicate a complete starship as large as Darth Vader's Super Star Destroyer, which is nearly 12 miles long and 2.5 miles across?
Okay. What it would do would be to replicate parts, and somebody'd have to be there to catch them when they come out and install them when they're ready to go.
Okay. So there's a limit to the size of a replicator.
No, there's no limit. There's practical considerations.
Ah, okay.
I'll leave it at that. Everybody will be schooled and all this. I'll leave it at that until we get there.
I like that. That's a good answer, Greg. Is there a maximum density or dimension that we will progress to, like the George the elephant being in 12D? Is that our maximum, or will we go?
No, we got 3. We got 6. And we got 9, okay? 10th density is where you lose your orientation to density completely.
Ah, so
by the time you're getting ready to go to there, you're already, ready to go, if you choose to do so.
okay.
A lot of this stuff is choice. A lot of people don't understand that. It's like making a decision. If you make an absolute decision with everything you got that this is going to be how something is, stick to it. You see it all the time. You experience it every day. Eventually, it'll become your reality. It will manifest into your life. It's just that simple. I wrote a paper called Reality Training. People need to pay attention and read.
Reality Training. Yeah, I read that one.
Study it.
Okay, next question. The current Chief Justice, John Roberts, isn't trustworthy. Will he be replaced before things like the Senate trial and treason charges are announced?
He's going to run the trial, and he is trustworthy. That sounds like a political spin to me, because the reason I know the man's trustworthy, I've studied some of his decisions, and he don't play games. If it's in the law, that's the way it is. If it's not in the law, it correlates with maybe one or more laws in such a manner that it does not disagree with any one of the particulars, and gives a general consensus as to the definition, explanation, etc.
Well, maybe this individual might want to expand on why he thinks he's not trustworthy. But anyway, is it true that silver will go up like 600 times in value virtually overnight when the new technologies are revealed?
That what will go up?
Silver, the price of silver.
Silver is a lot more rare than gold, so it's probably going to do. It'll probably do something along that line. Yes.
Yeah, because I was saying that it would be worth more than gold.
Well, gold is there's a special capability that when you this is really a mother for all those metallurgists out there. When you combine the two, you get a very interesting conductor. And I'm not going to say anything more than that because everybody's going, you can't combine it. Hey, it's not my fault that your pay grade don't go high enough to know this stuff.
Ah, that's interesting. Gold and silver together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
To give them something to look at and study. And
okay.
you can do that. Why not?
There are many people still not awake to what is going on. I had a friend recently say that those people won't make it to 4D and 5D. I have family members who are very good people, serves others, positive thinkers, and find that this is just not true. What do you say about this?
That's just not true. I agree. You're going to find, everybody's going to find that not as much changes as what they think, and the changes are not as extraordinary as what they've been led to believe by some people. Now, that does not leave out the possibility of artificially joined together items coming apart. So, I don't know if anybody can stand the idea of Mad Max Waters naked, but, there are some things I don't care to see.
Really? Same here. Okay, or George Soros or somebody. Okay, Drake, will the major arrests happen before or after the FISA and the declassification?
The investigations need to be completed pretty much before they actually make the arrests, as I get it. Enough rope to hang yourself kind of ideology that I mentioned in an earlier question. And then it's going. From what I understand, they're going to have a Gestapo boot on their neck. So, see how it goes.
Okay, well, I hope that happens sometime soon. Are we, as a species on Earth, the only ones in the galaxy to be deliberately misinformed about our history, our place in it?
No, there's no. I I'm not going to come up. I'm not going to play games and give you an exact number. Let's just say that this is the standard procedure for control purposes by those who don't have our best interests at heart. Now, that does not exclude anybody. When I say our best interests, that's whoever is affected. And some of these things that affect us ain't nice.
That's for sure. So this is deliberate, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There's everybody knows what the matrix is supposed to be. Well, there are matriarchal, or let's say matrix control grids of varying sorts. One is the veil of understanding. When that's lifted, then we get to knowledge. The control veil, the matrix that was controlling us, I helped dismantle. We have torn it apart and gotten rid of it. So the control one, the one for control, is no longer there.
Wow.
Now we're dealing with some of the sub levels of things. And that's beginning to be interesting in terms of what we're finding.
I was going to mention something that has happened to me. I had started a fundraiser for my son on Facebook, and taken the little bit of funds that I have, that people have donated it, and they put it into an American Express bank account that's not mine, and they won't reverse it. So I don't know what to do about that. That's a real problem. So I just told people don't donate now.
Who was it that put it in there?
Facebook.
Well, you'll need to ask the Facebook people to change that and allow you to determine where you want to put that money.
Yeah, I tried to do that. They said they couldn't do that, but I haven't given up yet.
They couldn't do that. Well, express to them that I have some friends who can turn them off for however long it takes them to make their decision.
That would be
I did that one. I did that once before. All of the main ones, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of that shit got shut down for about 3 days a few years back. That was me. They screwed with some people they shouldn't have screwed with. I took exception to their existence. The hackers told me they were not going to destroy it this time. So they best watch their P's and Q's.
Yeah, because it was like $330 that in some other bank.
What I'm saying is, you tell them that do you have access?
No.
Okay. You tell them that, and here's how it works. This is really going to be fun. Federal Trade Commission and the Federal Communications Commission doesn't like people stealing from people. Period. You need to get their address, both of them, file a complaint, tell them what's happened to it, and that Facebook thinks you're a joke, that they can do anything they want.
Yeah, they think they can, don't they?
Well, like I said, file the complaint.
Yeah, I got a couple of complaints to file. And I'd like to have people to send healing energies to the 4th Avenue Jail in Maricopa County. There's been some people injured there, my son included, and fighting and a lot of
yeah,
bad
not good.
So,
Not good at all.
What? Oh, meditation, good things, peace, healing energies, all of that. It would be helpful.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So anyway, let's say that is actually the last question was about the one you answered already. So I don't know if you have anything you want to add or anything. I know people will. You might want to say one last thing about the transition. It's still on. It's still
okay. Well, very simply, everybody should expect the best. That's not only just for them, but for everybody else, and all of the situations that are ongoing right now. Expect the best, and watch it change colors and stuff. It's fun.
Keeping a positive outlook.
Yeah.
Expecting the best, expecting things to be better, expecting things to be wonderful.
Yeah. All the goodies.
Expect that. Okay.
I'm going to say bye to everybody. And that's what I'm supposed to do, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Bye. Clunk. Clunk.
Let me see. Let me stop this now.